ordinary trash is reborn as extraordinary garden beauty. In this video, we'll explore unique DIY trash garden ideas, simple, colorful, and made to brighten your front yard, backyard, or even the tiniest patio. Every project is marked with timestamps, so you can jump straight to what inspires you most. If something sparks a question, leave a comment. I read them all. And if these ideas speak to you, take them, reshape them, and make them your own. Maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content lives a real story, and a real family. This isn't just another video, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you choose to subscribe, you're not just helping a creator grow. You're helping a dream stay alive. You're giving a small family hope, one click at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. In the stillness of a garden afternoon, fences often stand as silent boundaries, plain and unnoticed. Yet when touched by color and imagination, even the simplest fence transforms into a gallery of joy. Along the edges of this cottage garden, painted plastic bottles sway softly in the breeze, their pastel tones catching the light like stained glass. Inside each vessel, chrysanthemums and marigolds spill their petals outward, adding warmth and fragrance to the air. In the backyard, the story continues with bottles dressed in rainbow hues. They dangle like cheerful lanterns, glowing against the rustic wooden fence, their blossoms alive with asters and Japanese anemones. The pergola nearby, heavy with grapevines, becomes a stage where color, texture, and life harmonize. It is as though the garden whispers, "Nothing is ever truly trash, every fragment can sing again." Even in the tiniest patio, where space is scarce, charm finds a way. Here, earthy painted bottles cradle sedum autumn joy, catching drops of sunlight while resting against a bamboo fence. The rustic bench beside them invites anyone passing by to linger, to breathe, to smile. Beauty is not bought, it is created, nurtured, and shared with every bloom. quiet poetry in giving new life to the ordinary. Soda cans, once tossed aside without thought, now rise again with fresh dignity, painted in colors that mirror the garden's own palette. Along the front yard, they curve gently around the beds, their scalloped edges framing chrysanthemums and marigolds like a necklace of jewels. Each pastel tone reflects morning light, and the garden greets visitors not with fences or stone, but with artistry born of reuse. In the backyard, the transformation grows bolder. Here, drink cans painted in brilliant rainbow shades outline a gravel path. Their metallic shine glimmers beneath the sun, while nearby asters and Japanese anemones weave a tapestry of petals. The path seems to sing with color, guiding footsteps toward a vine-covered pergola that waits in welcome. Even the tiniest patio, so often starved of expression, becomes a place of charm. Rustic cans, painted in warm earthy tones, form a humble yet striking border. From their edge, sedum autumn joy drapes like a living curtain, softening the lines with tender blooms. A vintage chair rests nearby, as if inviting one to pause, to marvel at how yesterday's trash now whispers beauty into today's garden. From discarded rubber to radiant art, these rainbow tire towers tell a story of joy reborn. In the cottage front yard, 3 painted tires stand proudly at the gate, like sentinels of cheer. Each one holds a cascade of marigolds and chrysanthemums, their golden blooms dancing against colors so vivid they seem to glow. Visitors pause, smiling, as though welcome not just to a garden, but to a celebration of life. The backyard carries this story deeper, into a rustic corner where the air is quiet and kind. Here, stacked tires painted in every shade of the rainbow cradle blossoms of asters and Japanese anemones. Their petals weave against the color-washed rubber, softening its form with nature's grace. Beside a weathered bench, the tower becomes both a companion and a reminder. Beauty can grow from what was once forgotten. Even in the smallest of patios, where every inch matters, a single tire tower rises like a pillar of color. From its middle, sedum autumn joy spills gently, draping its foliage like a curtain of green. Above, chrysanthemums bloom, lifting their faces toward the sky. Against a bamboo fence, the tower becomes not just a planter, but a vertical song of resilience, charm, and delight. softest voice, and when carried by humble pipes, it sings with unexpected grace. In the cottage front yard, painted PVC pipes rise quietly, their farmhouse tones of sage and terracotta blending with blooms nearby. From their mouths, water spills into a stone basin where marigolds float like golden suns. The gentle sound mingles with birdsong, turning an ordinary fence line into a place of calm and welcome. In the backyard, color dares to dream bolder. PVC pipes dressed in rainbow hues cascade water in playful streams, splashing into basins lined with asters and Japanese anemones. Their blossoms lean closer to the cool spray, petals catching droplets like laughter caught in motion. A pergola wrapped in grapevines shades the scene, as if guarding a secret corner of joy. Even on the smallest of patios, magic flows. Here, rustic pipes painted in deep bronze and green weave with a bamboo fence, their trickling water feeding pots of sedum autumn joy and chrysanthemums. The air is filled with both freshness and memory, the kind of sound that makes one pause with tea in hand, savoring life's unhurried rhythm. From discarded pipe to flowing art, the message remains: beauty flows where imagination guides it. Sometimes beauty gathers in the quietest corners, where water rests and flowers float like fleeting dreams. In the cottage front yard, a simple basin once forgotten is now reborn. Painted in sky blue and lavender, it holds clear water where chrysanthemums and marigold petals drift gently, kissed by morning light. Beside a white picket fence tangled with roses, it feels as though the garden itself is breathing in serenity. The backyard tells a different tale, one of rustic charm and grounded grace. Here, an old galvanized basin stands filled with water, its farmhouse tones of sage and terracotta blending with the earth. Floating atop the surface are asters and Japanese anemones, their reflections shimmering softly. Sedum autumn joy rises nearby, and the shade of a vine-wrapped pergola makes the scene a sanctuary. This is no longer junk, it is poetry carved from the ordinary. Even in the smallest patio, the ocean finds its echo. A basin painted in turquoise and sandy beige mirrors the calm of the sea. Chrysanthemums and stones shimmer beneath the water's surface, and marigolds glow against a bamboo fence. It is as if a tiny seascape has been captured in a bowl, a reminder that wonder can be held even in the palm of a garden's hand. Every step in a garden tells a story, and sometimes the path itself becomes the narrator. In the cottage front yard, gravel paths are no longer plain. Along the edges, the bottoms of painted bottles shimmer like pastel jewels, forming a scalloped border that glows beneath the morning sun. Marigolds and chrysanthemums bloom close, their colors deepened by the delicate glass-like sheen. The path invites not just walking, but lingering. In the backyard, the story brightens into a rainbow. Bottle bottoms arranged in sweeping curves mirror the arc of joy itself, painted in red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. They catch the sunlight, casting tiny reflections that sparkle among the asters and Japanese anemones nearby. The winding edge leads toward a pergola heavy with vines, turning the journey into a small adventure of color and life. Even the smallest of patios is transformed by this humble art. Here, rustic bottle bases in earthy tones line a flower bed, softened by draping sedum autumn joy. Behind them, chrysanthemums rise like companions, bold yet gentle. Beside a vintage chair, the edging feels less like a border and more like a quiet frame to nature's living canvas. From discarded bottles to mosaic light, every fragment finds its place in beauty's design. In the soft hush of evening, when daylight surrenders to twilight, the garden's magic begins to glow. Along the cottage fence, simple soda cans find new life as lanterns, their pastel colors catching the last rays of the sun. patterns cut into their sides scatter starlight beams across marigolds and chrysanthemums, as though the flowers themselves had learned to sparkle. The backyard deepens this enchantment. Under a pergola woven with grapevines, dozens of rustic can lanterns sway gently. Painted in vibrant hues of terracotta and turquoise, their pierced holes breathe light into the night. Asters and Japanese anemones below seem to lift their faces to the glow, becoming part of a luminous symphony. It is no longer just a garden corner. It is a gathering of warmth, a festival held in whispers. Even the smallest patio finds its charm. Against bamboo fencing, can lanterns in earthy tones glow with quiet dignity. Sedum autumn joy spills nearby, kissed by their light, while chrysanthemums hold steady like watchful companions. A rustic bench waits, offering solace for the weary, a place to rest as shadows lengthen. Here, junk is no longer junk. It is starlight contained in tin, a story retold with color, patience, and care. Along the borders of a garden, rhythm can be written in color. In the cottage front yard, old tires once destined for waste now arc in waves of rainbow hues. Half buried in the soil, they stand proudly as borders, framing marigolds and chrysanthemums that burst with gold and crimson. Against a white fence of climbing roses, the line of painted curves feels like laughter etched into the earth. The backyard transforms the same idea into rustic calm. Along a winding path, tires painted in farmhouse tones of terracotta and sage blend seamlessly with the soil. They bend in gentle curves, guiding steps past beds of asters and Japanese anemones. Overhead, grapevines drape from a pergola, dappling the scene with shade and light. What was once junk now becomes a compass, leading hearts deeper into the garden. Even the smallest patio finds room for such beauty. Tires painted in soft cottage pastels cradle sedum autumn joy that drapes with tender ease, while chrysanthemums bloom like cheerful guardians behind. A rustic chair beside them offers pause, a place to sit and smile at the quiet artistry of reuse. The tires, reborn in color, no longer speak of roads but of roots, anchoring joy in every corner they touch. Even the tiniest garden can hold skies of color. In the cottage front yard, bottles once emptied and discarded now sway like ornaments upon the fence. Painted in soft pastels, they cradle marigolds and chrysanthemums, their petals glowing as the breeze carries them into motion. Against roses climbing high, they sing of renewal, proof that beauty may hang even from what was forgotten. In the backyard, joy grows louder. Beneath a pergola laced with grapevines, dozens of rainbow-painted bottles shimmer in the light. Strung together in garlands, they hold blossoms of asters and Japanese anemones, alive with delicate fragrance. The air feels like celebration, each bottle a lantern of bloom, each flower a story told in color. Paths nearby seem to lead not just through a garden, but into wonder itself. Yet it is in the smallest of patios where their magic whispers most. Along a bamboo fence, rustic bottles hang quietly, painted in terracotta and sage. Sedum autumn joy spills from their mouths, softening their edges with green. A rustic bench waits nearby, and chrysanthemums rise like companions, surrounding the space with gentle cheer. Here, simplicity reigns. The bottles no longer speak of waste, but of possibility, each one a vessel of life, swaying with grace in the garden air. There is a certain joy when the sky's rainbow descends into the garden. In the cottage front yard, painted PVC pipes rise as an arch of color, guiding marigolds and chrysanthemums upward in a golden climb. Beneath the arch, paths feel enchanted, as though each step leads not just through flowers, but through a portal of delight. Against the white picket fence, the trellis becomes a living gateway, framed in bloom and light. In the backyard, the trellis whispers more softly, clothed in rustic tones of sage and terracotta. Asters and Japanese anemones cling to its frame, weaving a tapestry of petals and leaves. Beside it, a pergola draped in grapevines watches over the scene, offering shade where the path curves gently onward. Here, the trellis is not loud but grounding, as if it were part of the earth's very bones. Even the smallest patio finds its echo of grandeur. A narrow PVC frame, painted boldly in rainbow stripes, stands tall beside a bamboo fence. At its feet, sedum autumn joy and chrysanthemums climb with grace, their blooms chasing the colors upward. A rustic chair waits nearby, inviting pause. The trellis, once mere pipe, has become a ladder for beauty, a bridge between humble roots and the soaring sky. In the hands of imagination, even the humblest junk becomes a canvas for beauty. In the cottage front yard, galvanized cans once tossed aside now shine with farmhouse charm. Painted in shades of cream and terracotta, they cradle marigolds and chrysanthemums, their colors glowing against a picket fence softened by ivy. Visitors stop to smile, surprised at how simplicity can feel so welcoming. The backyard whispers another tale, of a corner filled with rustic warmth. Around a wooden bench, old cans and basins, dressed in pastel paints, carry the bloom of asters and Japanese anemones. Overhead, vines spill from a pergola, and the garden seems to hum with quiet life. These planters, born of refuse, now sing in harmony with the soil, roots, and air. Even in a tiny patio, charm multiplies. Here, a gathering of painted junk forms a chorus of planters, a can holding sedum autumn joy, a basin brimming with chrysanthemums, a bottle carrying golden marigolds. Set against a bamboo fence, they glow softly under afternoon light. A rustic chair nearby waits for a dreamer to sit and watch. In this small haven, trash is no longer trash, it is heritage, color, and farmhouse poetry reborn. The sea does not always need waves, sometimes it rests quietly within a garden. In the cottage front yard, old basins once forgotten are painted in turquoise and sandy beige, half buried to create an ocean-hued border. Inside them, chrysanthemums and marigolds glow like coral reefs, their colors shining beneath the soft kiss of morning light. The white picket fence behind, clothed in roses, makes the garden feel like a seaside cottage dream. In the backyard, the idea grows deeper and more fluid. A winding border of basins painted in tones of deep blue and pale seafoam creates the illusion of tide lines curving with the soil. Asters and Japanese anemones bloom along the edge, leaning toward the fountain of color as though waves themselves had carried them ashore. Overhead, a pergola draped with vines completes the picture, a coastal garden corner, alive with both grounding earth and imagined sea. Even the tiniest patio finds room for the ocean's whisper. Small basins painted in soft aqua and sandy gold cradle sedum autumn joy that drapes like seaweed over their edges. Behind them, chrysanthemums rise like sunlit shells, while a bamboo fence and rustic chair complete the scene. In such corners, the sea is not far away. It rests within reach, painted in every curve of basin and bloom. Simplicity carries its own form of elegance, and in the spirit of a Japanese garden, even discarded bottles can embody calm. In the cottage front yard, painted in muted tones of stone gray and bamboo green, bottles line the path with quiet precision. They frame beds of chrysanthemums and marigolds, where petals lean gently toward a small stone lantern. The garden hums not with noise, but with stillness, an invitation to breathe deeply. In the backyard, harmony deepens. Along a winding gravel path, bottle borders painted in minimalist shades guide each step. Asters and Japanese anemones bloom gracefully at their side, bending softly as if bowing to visitors. Overhead, a bamboo pergola casts filtered light, completing the balance between earth and air, shadow and bloom. Here, nothing feels excessive, every piece knows its place. Even the tiniest patio can become a haven of zen. Painted bottle bottoms in moss green and warm clay form a humble yet steady edge. From their borders, sedum autumn joy cascades gently, while chrysanthemums rise like watchful companions. A bamboo screen closes the scene, offering a sense of retreat. In this small corner, the ordinary transforms into serenity, where recycled bottles no longer remind of waste but of balance, an art of restraint and renewal. There is a certain charm in the smallest of things, where everyday objects bloom into delight. In the cottage front yard, soda cans once destined for waste are painted in gentle pastels and stacked high, forming a tower of blossoms. Marigolds and chrysanthemums spill joyfully from their rims, their golden hues warming the path against a backdrop of roses climbing a white picket fence. The backyard sings with brighter laughter. Here, a tall tower of rainbow-painted cans rises like a playful sculpture. Each level overflows with asters and Japanese anemones, their petals glowing beneath the afternoon sun. A rustic bench sits nearby, waiting for someone to pause and marvel at how something so ordinary has become a celebration of life. The tower stands not as trash, but as a beacon of creativity. Even the tiniest patio finds its echo of wonder. A column of cans, painted in rustic tones of terracotta and sage, holds sedum autumn joy spilling like green ribbons, while chrysanthemums crown the top with color. Against a bamboo fence, a simple chair offers a quiet seat, the perfect place to sip tea and smile. In such corners, junk has become the cutest treasure, carrying flowers upward toward light and sky. Strength and softness often walk hand in hand, and in the garden, they meet where bamboo and tire become one. In the cottage front yard, bamboo poles rise tall in golden lines, their rhythm steady and timeless. At their base, pastel-painted tires rest like anchors, holding the soil where chrysanthemums and marigolds glow. Against a fence of roses, the fusion feels both rustic and tender, as though tradition and renewal have clasped hands. In the backyard, the vision grows brighter. Here, bamboo poles are bound into a rustic fence, their vertical grace met by a foundation of rainbow-painted tires. Around them, asters and Japanese anemones bloom freely, weaving softness through the strength. Above, a pergola shaded by grapevines stretches its arms, cradling the colors below in gentle light. It is a corner where earth and imagination seem to converse. Even the tiniest patio finds harmony in this union. A bamboo screen stands low, its base reinforced with tires painted in warm farmhouse tones of terracotta and sage. Sedum autumn joy spills tenderly across them, softening every line, while chrysanthemums rise as guardians behind. A rustic chair nearby offers a resting place, where one might sit and see how junk and nature together craft a story of resilience. Here, the fence does more than mark boundaries, it celebrates them.
La 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 la